Hey, Anna, it's Jack. You want to start the civic clerk?
Yeah, let me set it live. And Ken said he's having trouble connecting. He's gonna move by the internet, I guess.
Okay.
Okay, so now the meeting is live. Well, hopefully everybody's able to connect. We didn't have internet for a couple hours in the morning.
We have the same issue sometimes around the general area in downtown, spotty, and then when everything is being relied on for virtual meetings, it's kind of a problem.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was Russia and Ukraine.
I hope everybody pumped their gas today.
Right? Well, I guess you could start the meeting if you wanted to. You have a quorum, but we could wait a few minutes for Ken to log in.
Yeah, let's wait a few minutes. Have we heard from Ann or Mary?
No.
Okay.
Maybe I can give them a call.
Yeah, or shoot him a text or a message. I see joining us is Ken.
Hey there, sorry, can you guys hear me now?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Ken.
Good evening.
Yeah, we're still waiting for Mary and Ann, so.
All right, we got Bob, Dave, Peggy, good. Okay, got a quorum at least.
Yes. Let's wait till, let's give it another minute or so, just out of respect of people's time.
Has anybody reached out to Mary? You want me to try to get her?
I'm looking for her number, Ken.
I got it right here.
Okay. And let me reach out to Ann then. I just get her number.
I'm curious, can you see if we have any public viewers?
We have 2 attendees at the moment.
Really?
No, it's actually our
IT, yeah.
Aw.
They count though. Hi,
Yeah,
Jack.
they do.
Yes.
That they're both me.
So you have 2 accounts, Jack? The entire time you've been Chambers broadcast?
One is the streaming one is my making sure it works correctly.
Mind blown.
Okay, I called twice and I got Ann's voicemail both times.
Okay. We'll wait to see if Ken has an update.
All right, text and voicemail to Mary, no response yet. So I'd say we go ahead and get started.
Okay, I agree. With that being said, I now call the Special Advisory Redistricting Commission public hearing in order. I want to make the note that this public hearing will be conducted pursuant to the Government Code Section 54953E, which allows the city to hold meetings via teleconference during a proclaimed state of emergency, which we are in, when state or local officials have imposed or recommended measures to promote social distancing. With that being said, Madam Clerk, would you call the order?
Yes, thank you. Bernardi?
Here.
East? Absent. Kimball? Absent. Moreno?
Here.
Simas?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we have a quorum. We'll move on to item C, which is communications for public comment. Have we received any public comment since our last meeting?
No, no public comment.
Okay, now it's getting hands raised. All right, that moves along to item E for approval of the minutes. Given that we were provided the minutes ahead of time, may I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll move.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you. So that's a first motion by Simas, seconded by Bernardi.
I'll call the vote. Bernardi?
Aye.
East absent. Kimball absent. Moreno?
Aye.
And Simas?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you. So moving on to our final item for public hearing, and we'll turn it over to staff to give us our recommendation.
Thank you, Chair Moreno. I'll do a quick staff kind of synopsis and set the table for the Commission's action that's before you this evening. As you know, you spent the last 6 months kind of walking through what redistricting is, outlining a process with staff, and then executing a process to seek public input over that 6-month period. Tonight we'll conclude the final opportunity to receive public input, and through that process, had several public workshops in person by Zoom, and have received through that, at a minimum, I believe 13 different community submissions in the form of proposed or suggested ways to look at redistricting. The council districts, as well as some additional community survey forms that were provided. So that information has been provided to the commission, and over the last several meetings, the commission has evaluated the series of maps and community input that's been received, and begun to sort of narrow down and refine your sort of leaning and consensus around what proposed redistricting boundaries should look like in Woodland moving forward. Taking into account the new census data that we've received. At the last meeting that you held about 2 weeks back, the commission had sort of zoomed in on this, what we referred to as community submission number 10, and 10C really is kind of a more refined version of that, based on some additional inquiry the commission asked us to explore relative to fine-tuning some of the boundaries that were included. So that submission 10C, we are recommending that the commission this evening, after taking public comments, go back to and consider whether that submission or any further refinements to that submission is one that you are prepared to move forward to council as a recommended district map. After the commission concludes its recommendation on one or multiple maps, right? Remember, we don't have to move forward with a single map to the council if there is a couple maps that the commission feels are worthy of the council's consideration. But I think to this point, we've heard consensus from the commission that this modified 10 community submission 10 map that we've referred to is really sort of the best option to consider. But we do have that map. Danny, who's worked with you through this process in using the mapping tool, can show that submission map for you. Based on some of the questions that we were still grappling with at the last meeting with the commission, we've explored some additional refinements with some of the boundaries, particularly an area that we talked around last week that was south of Main Street that was going to be moved out of District 4 and put into District 3 that I think some of the commission members felt desirable to see if there was a way to keep that intact with District 4. And so we have spent some time over the last several weeks sort of refining and seeing how we can make that happen without compromising any of the other criteria that the commission has really held true to. So Danny, if you wouldn't mind pulling up Community Submission 10C and just give a quick refresh for the commission members what that looked like.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, let me share my screen here. This one here. Okay, everyone can see the map.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So this was map 10C. This was the map that at our last meeting, the commission seemed to be leaning towards and wanted to move forward with. It kind of the key points were that District 1, District 2 stayed intact. There's no change in the population that will be moving out of those. District 3 is relatively similar, and that District 4 and 5 are kind of the biggest changes, obviously, just because of the amount of population. But they also checked the two big boxes of having above the 50% the voting age Latino Hispanic. So, and they're both above 51%. So that was kind of the key takeaways. But going from map 10B to C, we basically pushed some of this back into 5 and made some other changes. But this was the one that, we kind of decided on last time that everyone was happy with. Got emailed out right after the meeting, so. Yeah.
And so just to sort of further try to explain some of the areas that we were still looking at, I think, at the last meeting. The area that Danny has the pointer over right there is that one that I was referring to that is currently in District 4, that under this map, to make the numbers balance, really helped to keep that or move that rather to District 3. And then we also, I noted actually afterwards as we were trying to play around with how we could make that move, there's this area in District 1 right now that, as you can see right there, currently is in District 3, but then gets moved into District 1. And that's really the only area in that district that gets moved. And so to help make up for, if we were to move that first area I was referring to back into District 4, could we make up that population for District 3, as you can see, because they're relatively low at 11,647, make that up by keeping that area in District 3. So I had Danny run a couple different scenarios to see what happens. And maybe Danny, if you have that one ready as well, I'll kind of explain to the commission what happens if we try to achieve that. So Danny, if you can sort of see better than I can, explain to that what the numbers result and certainly the boundary lines and how they have to change to sort of maintain the deviation requirement that we have, as well as the voter population percentage for Hispanic Latino.
Right, absolutely. So one of the areas we talked about that Ken just mentioned was this area right here that was these 5 blocks kind of going north-south, they were all in district. On the last map, they were showing in District 1. We were able to move those out into District 3. So only this small portion is affected and added to District 1 just because they were already below the 5% mark. They needed to take some population from somewhere. So just adding those 3 census blocks was enough to get District 1 into compliance within the 5%. So that was a pretty simple change, and it even affects less people moving out of District 3 currently. So pretty easy change, makes a lot of sense. This was that other piece that Ken was kind of really wanted to have in District 4 to keep together with this other,
Right.
and this whole thing south of Main Street and just east of Beach Street. So keeping them all in District 4 was kind of honestly the biggest goal of this whole change, and this allows us to do it. The next piece then was to basically balance out District 4 and 5. They're already, kind of on the upper edge of population for that magic number. So we just kind of, played with various scenarios. We were able to get this area back into District 4, and we had to move some of this into District 5, just north of, this is Gum right here. So looking at the numbers though, yes, District 4 and 5 still are on the high side. They're nearly the 5%, which is the limit. But for the voting age, for the Latino Hispanic, it actually improves their numbers. It puts District 4 above 52%, and District 4 is 54.64. So pretty solid right there on those changes. So yeah, those are the changes we've kind of tinkered with this week. It's not a nice clean boundary, but none of this over here is currently a nice clean boundary. So to me, I didn't feel like it was that big a change to have some kind of less, smooth straight lines to actually improve some of these other areas that were of concern. So I think this map does accomplish those goals.
Danny, if you're looking at that area right there, so all that area, even though it's got awkward boundaries, that's all currently in District 5 right now, right? So
yes, you can see it goes up Pioneer, across Gibson, and then back down, and then back to Gum. So it is kind of a weird boundary already. So this, it just moves. Some of these will get kind of flip-flop, but not a big change, I think, in that area.
Okay, that meets what we were talking about, not wanting to change the current district line so much and cause so much confusion. And then I appreciate you keeping in mind the changes we wanted to do to Alice and Depot Street, because that was just kind of an awkward cut on south of Main.
Agreed. Yep.
So I think on total, even though District 4 and 5 end up just shy of the 5% deviation, I think if you were to weigh from staff's recommendation, the benefit of keeping that neighborhood around Depot in District 4 and intact with the surrounding neighborhood, I think it's worth that. And also recognize that, District 5 is going to see the most growth over the next several years. And we should probably come back before the next census and relook at the district boundaries to address the continued increase in District 5 and the likely proposed increase in population that will come with the tech park. I think we're going to have to address that before the next census anyways. So anyways, that concludes staff remarks. Chair Moreno, I'll hand it back to you and have you sort of manage the commission comments as you want. And it still looks like, at least attendee-wise on Zoom here, we don't have any public comment yet. And I don't know if we've received any emails.
No, emails.
Cut that off anyway, So it really probably have to open public comment and then close it formally, just to procedural. But
I personally, I like those minor changes. Dan, could you send us out after we meet?
Hold on, Robert. I think we have to open public comment first, right? Before we start conversation?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you have
That's what I'm
questions
asking.
first,
That's
yeah,
what
if you
I'm-
have questions, you can ask those first.
Oh, okay.
But given, yeah, there's only 3 of you and there's no public,
Right.
I would just go ahead and open the public comment, take it, and then close it.
Okay, there's no public comment that I see, so we'll just go ahead and close that. Just covering our bases legally here. And then, Robert, sorry, I apologize for cutting you off.
Well, that's all right. You keep me on the rules of order here. My wife has tried for years and she hasn't been able to do it yet.
I did hear your question though, Robert. Yes, we will get this
Okay.
map distributed out to the
Yeah.
commission.
Thank you.
As soon as the meeting's over, of course.
I second that. I think I definitely had some outreach with the public on, you know, the 10C recommendation, and I don't mean for this process to go longer than, you know, our goal here, but we do have a window for us to have a third public hearing. Given that we haven't received this ahead of time, I'd like to, you know, have this in our email as soon as possible so we can, you know, go back to the community and talk about this. But that's my point. I haven't received this 10D, so if you wouldn't mind sending that, that'd be great.
Yeah, David, was there any comments that you received on the 10C that were worthy of considering as well?
Yeah, it was points that we were talking about already. It was the Allison Depot Street, and it was just the concern in zooming into the streets. So, you know, from my point of view, going into the boundary that is of District 4 and District 5, correct me if I'm wrong, that boundary is, you know, it goes through Gum Street, down Wallace, right? And then Brannigan, and again through, is it Ogden through Gibson? Are those the boundary streets? We couldn't tell through the maps, but I
Yeah, I
tried
think
my
that's
best.
right. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I just needed that confirmation because I can make the most out of the lines here and through you know, the current mapping that we have, but I just needed that confirmation.
Pull up on my phone just to make sure we have that correct. Yeah, that is Wallace. That kind of squiggles down from Gum to Brannigan and then over to Ogden.
You talking about this one, Ken, right here?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. And then this is, I believe, Farnham, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then
Correct.
Verdig. Yeah. Is that Maxwell?
yep.
Yeah.
So it would be east of Ogden and north of Gibson, currently in District 5, would now go into District 4, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of the tricky areas. This is just such a weird shaped census tract. It actually runs from Maxwell all the way up around here.
Yeah.
They're around some of these other ones, then back and ends here on, I think, Ogden there. So it's just,
Yeah, we're limited. We can't cleanly sort of add a portion of that area and
Yeah.
kind of align with logical street boundaries.
right. We looked at even
was
just putting this corner in, but just because that shape of that one census tract, you know, we decided to make this whole area. Because then you get these weird little fingers and islands, and it's just,
Looks gerrymandered.
yeah, it looks very strange. It's hard to explain that to someone that's
Yeah.
not done purposely.
Well, that was another comment that I had mentioned even before this public hearing, was that it's the explanation of, it's having to explain to the public that these are, you know, based off of the census tracts. This isn't just the commission here deciding to have a straight line on Gibson. So that's why, you know, we have to make these boundary streets the way they are in order for this to work. So I'm glad both of you made that mention, because it's important, for everybody's information.
I agree. It is hard to explain that to someone who's not familiar with them and hasn't seen just some of the oddities that are prevalent and just all over the city.
Mhm.
I mean, I'll go ahead and say that, I very much approve and I like this version of 10D better than what is 10C. I think both of them accomplish the goals and criteria that we were trying to meet, but I think 10D is a neater version of what we're trying to accomplish here, and I'd like to move forward with that to present to the council.
I agree. I think it improves on the details, and I think this is the one that I would also recommend moving forward with.
I can agree.
So with that, David, I think I heard you say you'd like to have the commission consider maybe holding one more hearing on this submission.
Yes, although we haven't had much participation, just out of respect to commissioners that are not here, I'd
Right.
like to get their input in here. I do find that value, and it also allow commissioners a chance to take the map here and do our outreach on our own.
I also, David, that I thought Mary had mentioned that some of the teams would be submitting a map and she's not here.
That's right. She was working with the teen advisory group, right? So if we haven't received that, I value the teen advisory group's input. I commend their participation. I think they were the most input that we received from the public as well. So we don't want to, put that aside.
Right.
I have a small technical question, probably for Daniel. The question is, when you look at District 5 and it has the strip that kind of parallels 5 east to west, very small strip, does that meet the requirement that the district remain in one contiguous place? Because it looks like,
You mean this area here?
Yeah, exactly. It just is just a little technical question that I would someone to come up and say, we blew it on that one point that we need to achieve.
Because there's no population there, that's actually the road out to our wastewater treatment facility. So we could make this red, all of the, in District 4. So we can go either way. If it does look bad, it's not going to affect the numbers at all. So it's just more of a visual optics thing. So it does kind of look incontiguous a bit, but I will run that check before. I'll run it here on my side screen, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be just fine as is, just because it's already weird shape and it passes the checks normally. So that's a great question.
I don't have any concerns about the appearances of it or anything. I just didn't want to hit a glitch later on where it
absolutely didn't. And I will verify that here as well. So that's a great question.
Is the Woodland Park highlighted there, or is that not a part of it? Is that part of the white? Oh, okay.
No, the regional park is that portion down there on the bottom. Yeah.
Okay.
So, Peggy, bring up a good question, right? If, regardless of its technicality, would the commission prefer to see the wastewater treatment plants and the 900 acres included in District 4? We are, likely to receive an annexation application in the next several months for the area just south of Costco Gateway. And it would likely land within District 4. Again, probably, there'll be some housing with that. But that would flow much better, I guess, into the properties to the east if it was, the properties to the east were also in District 4, I think. But.
And with the anticipation of what growth we expect for the Woodland Tech Park as well, right, for District 5?
Yeah, that'll flow into District 5, obviously, and as that builds out and Spring Lake's built out, right, that population balance might warrant, the council before the next census to, relook at the district boundaries, so.
Okay, either way, I think you make an argument for putting it in District 4.
Are you guys able to see the map?
I do.
Okay, so I just did that quickly. You can see that that's what it looks like in 4. Does not change the numbers at all.
Yeah.
Keeps, both population and any voting group, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. Yeah, I can easily make that change on the PDF before it goes out, if that's what the commission decides.
Is that what you call a non-change change?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So if I'm reading the commission right, we have 3 in agreement here that
Yes.
are fine with it being in District 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, how does the commission feel? I mean, do we have any more points that we'd like to mention to staff here? Questions before moving forward? I think. No.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay.
So I guess one question for staff to the commission. I think you have an option, Anna, correct me if I'm wrong, you can hold another meeting either as a public hearing or just as a public meeting, like you do in your normal commission meetings. So bit of a nuance either way. The public hearing does require slightly different noticing requirements, I think, Anna, but that's the only difference.
Yes, and we do have March the 2nd at 6:30 reserved as an optional continuation of a second public hearing. Or change it to a regular ARC meeting.
Do we know offhand what's the difference in notice or in announcement of the meeting? I'm not familiar with the difference between the public hearing and the public meeting.
Publishing longer in the paper, like a 10-day public hearing notice.
I recommend we do the simpler one.
I do too. So, then could I have a motion to, for us to have a public meeting on the March 2nd? We don't have a conflict, right? Like we're fine for the city's Zoom account.
Let me,
Just so.
Yeah, double check to see if there's is that historic commission night?
yeah, let me double check. No, historic preservation is March the 16th and planning commission is March the 3rd.
Third, yeah.
Okay. So as chair, I'm allowed to motion, right? That's totally fine. So
Correct, yeah.
So I'll motion for us to have our public meeting for March 2nd at 6:30 in order for us to have time to outreach and have other commissioners join us in more conversation in the community submission of 10D. After Danny provides us with the PDF for us to use that in our outreach.
Okay, so regular meeting, right?
Regular meeting, please, yeah,
Okay.
for March 2nd at 6:30.
Good.
I second that.
Thank you.
Okay. So let me do the roll call vote. Bernardi?
Aye.
East is absent. Kimball, absent. Moreno?
Aye.
Seamus?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 3-0.
Great. Thank you. So thank you, staff, for all the work. Danny, you're a rock star for providing us this graphic in real time.
Yeah.
So we'll be waiting for that submission, and that moves us to adjournment, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate the time, and I hope everybody stays warm.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. Yeah,
Good
thank you.
evening.
I'll get this map out as soon as possible here.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good evening. Bye.